What's up, everyone, and happy late Halloween. Welcome to the Dark Side Podcast. I'm David Viana.
Are you? I can't tell. My name's Matt Elias.
You never know when you got to hit a lick real quick.
I'm Tone Jordan.
Keep that thing on me.
We're blessed this week again to have some assistance in navigating our faithful Dark Side listeners through this dark nightmare that we're living in. So thanks, Tone.
Thanks for having me. Always glad to be here.
Anonymous, not Dave, protecting your identity.
What's my name again?
David.
There we go. Yeah.
You get your little voice changer thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, what gang were you in?
The dedication.
I can't say.
Good answer.
I couldn't think of a good name.
Yeah, so this week we've got a pair of classic style Dark Side material stories. And Dave's, I guess your mask this week is to celebrate the second story, of which you're kind of festive for the insane riots happening in the country of Chile.
Yes. Great stuff happening down there.
Not so great. We're going to cover that in
Well,
the
what
second.
they're doing is pretty great, I'm saying.
Okay, well, that's your opinion.
I cannot wait to hear about it.
Yeah, you've been hearing us talk about this Chile thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's the second half of the show. But first, the A segment of this week's show is related to a guy named Samuel Little. Who's heard of him?
Who's Samuel Little? I've never heard of him.
I've heard him because you told me.
Okay.
I'm in the dark here.
You're in the
Samuel
Dark Side
Little
Podcast.
is
I'm on the side too.
now, according to the FBI, the most prolific serial killer in American history. They just announced it this month.
What does prolific mean?
The most kills.
Nice.
High score.
That's legit.
High score.
He has been linked by evidence to close to 60 homicides.
Confirmed.
Yeah.
That's
Homicides.
impressive.
Now, the previous most prolific serial killer in all of American history, and one who doesn't get a whole lot of coverage, people don't talk about him a lot, was the Green River Killer.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, he was convicted of, I think, 48 murders. And 49, it was 48 or 49, the most ever. Now, he probably killed, I think it was in the 70s or something.
Now, see, like the Iceman murders, like the one hitman, did he is he technically considered in that realm of serial killers?
Technically, he's a serial killer, but I don't think he killed that many though.
Okay.
That they can confirm.
He was a hitman?
Yeah,
he was a hitman.
Okay. He was
yeah.
like the go-to hitman for I forget what
Kuklinski, but he was for one of the mafia families in New York.
Yeah,
maybe even more than one. I think he was just like a pro.
Yeah, he was just like he was the guy to go to when he wanted someone dead.
Yes, there was a cool movie. I think it was called The Iceman.
Yeah, I heard it wasn't that great.
It was good. Michael Shannon played him. I liked it.
Yeah, there's a bunch of I think HBO did like a sit down talk with him too.
They did. I saw that. That was cool too.
Was he wearing something like that?
No, he doesn't give a fuck.
He was in custody by that time. They were doing it in jail and shit. So he didn't give a fuck.
But anyway, so Samuel Little, the new reigning champ for what that's worth.
You got to be proud of something. I mean,
I know.
You got to take pride in it a little bit at least.
A couple of interesting things to know is that he is, first of all, he's black, which is kind of rare for these serial killers. Usually you're talking about white men with serial killers. There have been one or two women here and there, like Eileen Wuornos from Charlize Theron, got real ugly for that monster movie and won the Oscar.
Yes.
They love it when pretty actresses put on ugly makeup for that day. But anyway,
it works.
She killed it. She did a great job in that movie.
Like Christian Bale in The Machinist.
That was a killer movie, by the way.
I was looking at it side by side, the commitment. Like he was like so like anorexic skinny.
Oh, he like really went down like 100 pounds.
Went for it.
And
anyway,
fat as fuck for the Vice movie.
So this most recent story that I pulled up is from earlier in October about Samuel Little, and so he's he's already in prison. He's already locked up for other murders. But what they're linking him to all these other murders that he's done, and he's trying to lead authorities to these bodies that haven't been found and whatnot. Because there's all these people, and guys like this, and they're linking him with evidence to something like close to 50 some murders, close to 60. The thing that separates him from like somebody like Ted Bundy, who claims he killed 70, 90 or whatever. Yeah. But he only ever was really linked to 20 some, I think.
Yeah. It separates from the men from the boys around here, really.
We're talking confirmed kills, dog.
But like Ted Bundy was sitting around on death row in the late 80s and was upset that the media wasn't. Are you just gonna wear that mask the whole?
It's gonna come off.
I was
soon.
looking at your glasses.
Yeah, they're
fogging
getting
up.
fogged
It's,
up.
like,
It's kind of miserable after a while, but I'm trying to keep it going as long as possible.
You could take it off. I mean, we already kind of did.
I'm committed. Okay. I have the commitment. It's gonna be another.
I'm just looking at the mustache and mouth like coming out of the hole.
It's
your
uncomfortable.
your long soul patch hair
Yeah,
is
kind of like
I can tell. It's like very
this.
uncomfortable. You
Yeah.
know what? I'm just gonna. You
Yeah.
guys are just like
Yeah,
you're making me
there you go.
self-conscious
Go
and
ahead,
shit,
make
like-
yourself comfortable.
Okay.
Keep the rest of your clothes on, please. But yeah, like Ted Bundy was sitting around on death row in the late 80s, and he was just pissed off and no one was paying any attention to him because he's a narcissist asshole and he started making shit up. And so, but a lot of the weird thing is a lot of serial killers by nature are narcissistic, you know, like assholes, and that goes with their personality type. So they want attention a lot. Not all, some don't, but anyway. So this Samuel Little guy is now, so he's killed. Who knows? They're saying maybe in the 90s. They don't really know, but like, so they linked him to 60, and he is drawing pictures of. Because he doesn't know the names of some, and he over like a period of 35 years from like the 70s up into the 2000s, he was killing people all over the country. He just moved around and killed women. And he is drawing pictures of victims that he's apparently a pretty good artist. He can recall the faces of these women that he killed, and he doesn't know their names, but he's drawing them,
sketching them,
and they're like matching them to photos of people that were missing, and like you could see right here. Just for, I mean, I know they can't see it, but
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, like he's drawing from memory photos or pictures of these victims that he, you know, killed. And they're pretty, I mean, it's pretty accurate. The guy can draw, and I mean, that's blowing my mind.
So what are his
crazy.
motives for trying to help now? Like,
It just
why is
seems
he
like
doing
he's
that?
just he's like really old now, and he's just like, I don't know, might as well, I guess. Like, not to mention these guys get like a charge out of the reliving the kills because he's locked up now. He can't kill anyone else, and so the only thing that keeps them going is, I mean, it's almost like an addiction, like from some of this stuff. I went down this really big rabbit hole a few months back and like read everything I get my hands on about serial killers and shit. And we didn't do a lot of it on the show because I was just kind of like, I don't really want to. Now, you know this. I haven't really said much about this on the show. I don't like to do true crime stuff for the dark side simply because true crime, if you look at shows like Last Podcast on the Left and some of these other, I mean, it's great shows and they're very thorough.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have the resources to do what they do.
No.
We don't have people to, I mean, not that, like, we don't have time to do it ourselves, and we don't have people to do the research to dig up the facts about this stuff. I can't talk about like a legal case in detail and be saying things wrong, and then we just don't have time to fact check and stuff and do the research. So I like to stay away. We did one time, and it was just like,
It was a lot of work.
It was rough.
You literally have to like,
and we still made mistakes.
Yeah, if you want to do shows like that, you literally have to like set aside like 8 hours of your day just to
Or more,
research,
depending
like,
on
that
what
shit.
it is. Like, could take
especially
weeks.
if you're digging through legal files in court.
Right, which is what you got to do.
manuscripts.
Like, I would do that, but I just don't have the time to focus on something like that. But anyway, which is why we like to stick to the comedy side of things. Anyway, the show's called The Dark Side. We like to focus on darker things in pop culture, but this is an AP article. We can talk about this because it's interesting.
It is.
There's a lot of weird things about this story. The fact that like nobody has known who this guy is. He's been sitting in prison, and he's apparently
How long has he been in prison for?
I don't know. Sometime since this exactly. I don't know, and that's why we don't do true crime.
Did it say how he got caught?
I don't know. I don't know how
What
he
do
got
you
caught.
know?
He has confessed to 93 slayings across the nation between 1970 and 2005, targeting prostitutes, women addicted to drugs, and others he thought wouldn't be missed. Law enforcement agencies have been able to confirm 50 slayings. Okay, so it's 50. They're working to verify the others, but they're having problems because in many cases there's no missing person report and no body, which often, just like the Green River Killer thing, he was killing prostitutes around Seattle and in Washington, and actually that whole region. He was moving around. But
Where was he doing it at?
all over the country.
everywhere.
He moved
moved
around.
around.
He was like nomadic, which is part of why they didn't catch him for a long time, I guess.
Interesting.
I don't know if it means he was caught in 2005. Like I said, I don't have the whole story, but I've seen a couple stories about this, and I get most of my news from Associated Press. I just read that because it's like the driest, most boring news in the world, and they don't spin and they don't care.
True.
So, but yeah, unbelievable. I'm looking at the pictures that he's drawing next to the photos of the women that he's killed from memory. He's sitting there in prison, thinking back to someone that he killed maybe 20 years ago, and he draws a picture of her face from memory.
It's actually kind of impressive.
Well, yeah, maybe like sexually getting a thing out of it, but who knows? I don't know what type of...
What type of killer was? So he killed prostitutes, he killed drug dealers,
he strangled,
is he, like, raping them? Is he killed like...
It just says he strangles them and he strangled women. That's why I would like love for more. I'm interested in this story because more stuff will come out about it. I'm hoping someone will write a book about him so we can know. Like the Green River Killer, I know a lot about that because there's a really great book that was written in the early 90s by a couple of reporters from that area who covered that story the whole entire time. Because like the whole 80s, the Green River thing is crazy because it just got like buried in the news.
Yeah.
Like this guy's up there. He killed like probably like 70 or 80 women over a period of from like the late 70s up until we were like I was in high school, like 2004, I think they caught him. But like they had no idea who this guy was for all that time. And the killings just kind of stopped. So they just kind of let it go. And, it got buried in the news because the Iraq War like started happening. Or I think maybe it was 2003 when we
hit 9/11 and then that.
It was Iraq. It was like a couple of years after 9/11. We invaded Iraq and that just, but like regionally in Washington State when they caught him, the newspapers were going crazy, but it just nationally people don't even like everybody knows Ted Bundy, everybody knows John Wayne Gacy and like Jeffrey Dahmer and all that stuff.
Yeah,
but
they're like
Green
superstar
River,
status.
They are.
Right.
Superstar. That's so fucked up. But like the Green River Killer killed way more people than any of them and was like a manhunt that went on for like more than a decade. And then they just like they just stopped and gave up on it because they had no leads and they couldn't figure it out. Even though the cops did interview him back in the 80s. They had the right guy.
That's fucked up.
Damn.
They talked to him, but they didn't. And there were people like they just had all these different, because he was killing prostitutes and like prostitutes they don't, especially back then, they just move around and stuff. So it's like they don't even know when someone's really missing or not because it could just be she got in trouble and left, right? Plus they don't know what her real name was. So it just, and he was like moving body. He actually got to the point where he was like going back. They would find bodies out in the woods. We weren't talking about the Green River for this, but I mean I know more about that than this guy. But just for like perspective of the previous record holder, he was like he was reading about himself in the news, and he would like leave bodies in like clusters, they were calling them, like in the woods. He would just like find a good spot and go and just like leave them, just lay them out so that they would just like decay, and or bury them like shallow or whatever. But like he started going back and digging stuff up and moving it around just to fuck with them, like the cops. And like it worked for a long time. Like he would like pick up part of a body and move it somewhere else, and like put the head here, put the skull here, put the other stuff. Like they were finding skulls on the side of the road without the rest of the body and stuff. And this just went on through the whole 80s. Insane. Like they didn't catch him until in 2003 when we were like in high school. And then he ended up helping authorities. He went out with like the FBI and the police out there and like led them to all these other bodies out there and stuff.
Yeah.
This is the Green River Killer?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's alive. He got, in exchange for a life sentence to get the death penalty, he pled guilty to like 48 murders, which was like out of control.
Holy
in one
shit.
case.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And in exchange for his help to find a lot of these victims and solve all these people, like they figure their daughter or whatever is dead, but they don't really know. For 20 years. So he was able to solve a lot of those mysteries for him. So in exchange for that, they let him live, which is wild, right?
That's
like,
crazy.
How do you know what I mean? Like this guy killed 48 people and he gets to live, but it's there. And a lot of people were kind of outraged by that, but it's like, I mean, how do you even is killing him going to even make it different? Like, what even does that do?
You might as well just let him suffer for a while in prison and
He's
shit.
not. Right. He's the only thing.
Suffering as much suffering as you can.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's fucking nuts.
But yeah, so previously, like I said, that's wild. You don't hear someone pleading guilty to 48 murders.
So Samuel Little. So what's he got going on right now?
Right now, he is helping the FBI to find bodies as best he can.
And how many, is he guilty for, pledged or?
I don't even know what his status is. He's in prison now for other murders.
Okay.
But he is confessing to more and more. He's confessed to 90. So.
I always find that kind of weird. Like how once they're in prison and stuff, they help them find the body and stuff.
But it's because they feed on
the attention.
They feed on the attention, but they feed on reliving the murders because that's what these serial killers do. A lot of them, they if they kill someone and it feeds them and gives them what they need.
Yeah.
And then you obviously can't kill someone every day if you don't want to get caught. So some of them will live their life for years. Just and that's why a lot of them keep things like hair or a piece of their belongings.
Trophy.
To have it and it's they
cherish it. Relive it.
This Green River guy, for example, it fucking pissed him off when he would read about them finding the burial sites in the paper because he considered those women and those bodies to be his possessions. And he's it was his secret that he knew that place was his and he could think back to when he killed that person and he could relive it and he knew that where that body was and that was only his secret and that person and their life and their body and that place belonged to him. And it was it bothered him when they would find them.
Digging through his old drawers type shit.
Get out of my private stuff. So these serial killers
that's weird.
But all that to say, to answer why would he help? Why do they help find? That's their way to relive, in a way.
Yeah, that's true.
They get to go out and go back to the burial site or talk about it and ask questions about it. So just sitting in their cell.
It'd probably be a whole other rush when they find it. They found we found it.
Yeah, depending on murder. Some guys might like it.
Yeah, I did it.
But some guys,
awesome.
like I said, the Green River guy. Now he was different. Some serial killers taunted. There are certain ones who would taunt the newspaper, like the Zodiac Killer and Son of Sam. They were sending letters to the paper and messing with the police. Green River Killer, he didn't do anything like that for the most part. He didn't want to get caught. He just wanted to keep doing what he was doing.
Yeah.
And
he found his rush.
They're all different, But it's just crazy how many different routes there are for a person to arrive at the same destination of, I got to go kill people secretly every once in a while, or I just can't. And it gets to be from what a lot of the stuff that I read, for some of them, it's an addiction. It just sounds like a fucking nightmare life. A lot of them, don't even, they aren't dumb. They know that they're probably going to get caught and it's going to ruin their life and they're probably going to die and they're going to be hated and they're going to be these pariahs and they're probably going to go to prison. A lot of them are rapists and, if you go to prison like that, you're not going to have a good time. A lot of them are child killers. Yeah. You're not going to have a good time in prison. They know this. They don't want to get caught. But at the same time, they're still driven to do this. So in a way, I don't know, not I'm not trying to say I'm a serial killer. But I'm saying
I was going to say, is this an on-air confession right now?
No, it's not a confession.
Yeah, he's really romanticizing this.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to, it's trying to identify with it. That's why people and that's why people are so fascinated with it. Because how could a person do this? What kind of human being could do this? And it's I don't know what it's like to do that, but what I do know is drug addiction. So I can relate to being driven to doing something that's I don't even want to, it got to a point with the drugs where it's I'm not even getting what I'm looking for out of this drug anymore. It's not even I'm not even getting that release that I'm looking for, but I'm still driven to do it.
Yeah.
And my life is already a disaster and I'm still driven to cause more damage to do it. So in that way I can kind of relate with it. And it sounds like a fucking nightmare. But, then some of them, I don't know, you look at Ted Bundy or whatever, and remember the whole, we did a segment a couple months ago when the Ted Bundy documentary tapes came out, and it was, I think it was called People Want to Fuck Ted Bundy.
Yeah.
Because there's all these, I mean, I'm just gonna say it. It's white girls. There's all these white girls that are like romanticizing Ted Bundy because he was like, oh, he's this handsome serial killer and he's like an evil genius. And
then Efron playing.
Yeah, and then
him
Zac
didn't
Efron
really,
played
like,
him.
It didn't
Yeah,
really help
that
that
doesn't-
argument
that
at
didn't-
all. Like,
that's probably why they did it though, so get the handsome actor to do it.
apparently,
Yeah. He
Efron
did
did
play
a
the
great.
role.
Yeah, I didn't get to see it.
I
Did you
didn't
see
watch
it?
it either.
yeah.
He did good?
did a really good fucking job playing that role.
That's what I've heard.
Like,
Is he a good actor? I never even really like paid
Efron's
attention.
really. I like Efron.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. He
Yeah.
did like some like. I mean, he got his start like with the Disney shit and
Yeah.
all that bullshit. But like, he actually has some good roles like in movies
Yeah.
and stuff.
I saw him in that movie Neighbors.
Was he good?
Yeah, he's funny.
He's
like
actually a
frat
funny
bro.
person too. Like he seems like every a lot of characters I've seen of him, he's always made me laugh and shit. So like,
Anyway, yeah, I mean Disney has an eye for talent, I suppose. But there's a spider
I
on the wall
guess.
behind you. Look at that. Get out of the Dark Side Studio. Anyway,
It's Halloween.
that's true. It's very spooky and festive.
Spooky studio.
He gets a pass.
Spoopy Studio.
Spookio.
But anyway, so yeah, Samuel Little,
Studio.
the new reigning champ. I bet the Green River Killer's pissed.
Oh, he's probably just gonna start making up killings now.
You know what else? There's probably some other guy out there who no one's even heard of that's killed like way more and he knows it and he's just like, talk to me when you break five.
As he's
Like
like
sitting-
brushing some dead body's hair.
Now there have
I
been
was gonna say, like just sitting in his basement, like with a meat cleaver, just like chopping the body up, laughing.
Or like painting her
like I
nails
said,
or something.
we're kind of
Pansies.
limited in the way we can talk about this stuff because, you know, like I said, true crime, we don't have the ability to just, like I'm going off of one article and I've been reading a couple articles of this. Like, I don't know all the facts. And
I wonder, like, if since he killed prostitutes and stuff, like if it was a sexual thing for him, like if he hated women for a
usually it
certain
is,
reason,
but
like
for the most part,
if that's
but
the
I
only
don't-
way he got off is like by killing someone. And
I don't know, but I'm hoping that
It's like some next level incel shit.
what I'm hoping is that someone like, oh shoot, I forget his name, the FBI criminal profile guy who the show Mindhunter is based on.
Yeah,
I
don't
read
know
a
the
bunch
name
of his
it.
books, and he's had a chance to interview, you know, like pretty much every famous serial killer that you can think of, including like Charles Manson, including Bundy, including.
I wouldn't consider
Green
Manson
River.
a serial killer. I always hate when people say that.
Yeah, he's not. He didn't
like,
kill anyone.
He's a pussy in my mind. Like
Manson was
I
a
don't.
bitch.
Yeah,
I
I,
don't like
read
Manson.
an interesting take on Manson that like the dynamic in that group was that like the whole.
Murray didn't even move.
I
from
was
that one.
adjusting my microphone at that exact moment and I thought I did it.
You did it.
I was afraid you were going to yell at me.
It was a water bottle.
Like you just stared at him for a minute, like
I'm gonna yell at you.
trying to do a show.
That older brother thing never leaves. I'm just like, oh, don't hit me.
Anyway, yeah, Manson. Okay, the Manson killings was that so Charles Manson was like running this cult
Yeah.
thing. He had this like commune in the desert with
Yeah.
like all these young girls and some guys and stuff that were living there. And he was like the shit. Because he's like a fucking narcissist, like all these guys are. And he was like the man. Everybody thought he was like the you know, the leader, and he knew what was going on. And he had him like roped in with this bullshit philosophy, like any cult or, you know, religion or the televangelist, like any one of those guys.
Yeah.
And he was like living large, dude. He got to like sleep with all these girls and like they were in like free drugs all the time. I'm just like, that's fine. In fact, I don't know if the camera can see it, but yeah, he's living his life there.
He was also a musician.
He was a musician.
Like he
and
was gonna be famous.
but he wasn't apparently, and he's
No.
pissed off about that, which is why he
Yeah.
had this like chip on his shoulder. But my point is that so he didn't even the whole murders thing. I heard and read somewhere, and I don't remember where. Again, this is my true crime credentials showing here, but like there was another guy in the group who like escalated the killing of like the idea of doing this killing for real. You know, like really starting the race war that he was talking about.
Yeah.
And Manson wasn't even really planning on going ahead with it because he liked the way things were. Everything was great. But then this other guy was like, yeah, we should really do this. And the plan to kill Sharon Tate or whatever started coming together. And now Sharon Tate, he had a motive, by the way, to hurt
Yeah.
Roman Polanski. So that's another part of it.
Yeah.
He's not as crazy as people want to think he well, it was. He's dead now. But anyway, this other guy, he couldn't be seen as like a pussy. Once the one guy was like, yeah, we're going to do this, Manson couldn't be like, guys, no. Like, so he like had to go ahead with it.
Huzzah.
Yeah. Or else he was like, it was like a power struggle thing.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I read. And it kind of lines up with at least
makes
the way
sense.
I kind of have seen, Charles Manson. He just seems like a fucking, he's always looking for
loser.
attention. Just like a Bundy, like Ted
Yeah.
Bundy is just sitting there in jail when he was still alive, just wanting attention and whatnot.
Yeah, every time he wanted to get on the news, he would just speak in fucking tongues or whatever. And like, there we go. 10 minutes of Charles Manson on the news. Easily.
Yeah. Like even that quote, like so many, like a bunch of death metal bands and stuff have used it, like, if I started killing people, there'd be none of you left. He was just being dramatic.
Yeah.
Come, it just seems so douchey. Like,
Shut
come
up.
on, dude.
Yeah.
You're in prison.
It's like fucking.
I think he was like 5'0" too.
Yeah, he was a short
If I
motherfucker.
started killing people, there. Shut up.
Be none of you. Exactly. That's what I think.
Get in
about
your
it.
like Cummins fucking. It's like the biggest small dick energy I've ever heard. Like if I started killing people, you'd all be fucking. Shut the fuck up,
Yeah,
dude.
you won't do shit.
Didn't-
You were
ass.
out and had a whole entire cult full of people, and you didn't kill anybody.
Right.
Fun fact, like like how they portrayed him in like the new Tarantino movie and everything.
Yeah.
You know who they originally asked to audition to play Charles Manson?
The lead singer of Tool.
No, it was Charlie from.
It's Always Sunny. Yeah,
we talked about this.
What?
Yeah, like they offered him
yeah.
that audition, and he turned it down because he was filming his own thing at the time, and he was like, he thought about it, and he was like, I really don't want to be seen as like a
Yeah.
Charles
That
Manson.
would kinda change things for him
Yeah,
a little
like,
bit.
I still would have thought it'd be cool to see him as Charles Manson, but like at the
Yeah.
same time, like
If put some long hair on him and
yeah,
Manson didn't really have a huge like himself. He wasn't huge in that movie.
no.
It wasn't like
Apparently, they're putting out like another edition of it. It's like it's an hour plus longer than what
Great,
the
of
original
course.
one is,
Yeah.
and he's gonna have more of a role in that one or
I'm
something.
sure. Yeah,
Of course.
the Tarantino special.
A
Always-
5-hour movie.
Just make a show. Like,
They did that with the Hateful Eight.
yeah,
Netflix like turned it into like a 4-part series and added a few extra scenes and shit into it.
yeah. I'm not watching that.
I mean, I didn't either.
It was long enough as it was.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, how many more hours can I watch 6 people sit in a room and just talk, or 8 people? I guess
It was 8, Matt. The title is The Hateful Eight. It's not The Hateful 6.
Yeah, that doesn't sound as good. Does it? It's like 3 from Hell.
Yeah.
it's like the
Two from
OG
hell.
podcast right there.
What?
Just listening to just 8 people just fucking talk for 5 hours.
That's what we're doing
Screaming
here.
over each
3
other
people.
like on the mic.
Yeah. Anyway, so
Hateful.
there's the serial killer thing. We
Accurate.
digress. I still thought it was interesting, and people ought to know about that.
Samuel Little.
Samuel Little.
Heard it here.
Samuel.
You heard it here first.
Stuart
Probably
Little's
not,
older
but-
cousin.
I did. I heard it here first.
Anthony heard it here first.
So
I heard it because you sent me the link for it a couple days ago. So
I'm really excited to hear about Chile.
All right, Dave. Let's finally lift the veil and let Anthony know what this Chile thing.
Sorry.
It's
all right. Well, it's 2 for 1 baby back rib month. And
at Chile's.
Yeah,
Baby
so-
back, baby back. Yeah. All right. So tell us what's going on in Chile.
All right, well-
Anthony can't wait. So
I- like,
excited.
I'm so excited.
I kept seeing on Twitter and stuff about protests and riots going on over there right now, and I'm wondering like what the fuck is going on, because at first I thought it was what Matt sent me like a few days ago about like Mexican drug cartels taking over this town for like 12 hours.
That's
basically.
a whole other shit show.
Yeah, it's
Caused by the United States' drug policies.
it's wonderful. I,
what are you gonna do?
I love
So
it.
excited to hear about it.
But okay, I found this interesting article. Like it's not really, it's like bits and pieces of an article on Twitter. It kind of explains why this whole thing is going on over in Chile. So, title is a summary of what's happening in Chile. I'm just going to read this word for word.
Go ahead.
A day was already passed, so I thought it would be a good idea to gather everything that has happened so far regarding the protests, riots, and police brutality. On October 6th, the government announced that the public transportation fare in Santiago, specifically the metro, will be raised to 830 Chilean pesos, around $1.17. Like an American like currency. This has not been the first raise this year.
Like
so they just
per
keep,
ride?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they just keep raising the price of this.
$1.17 seems reasonable.
Well, you're going to find out why it's not reasonable in a minute. The news angered the citizens since both salaries and the pension systems are miserable compared to the prices in transportation, education, health, and electricity. Water is private, the health system is collapsing due to lack of supplies, and recently found out that the president has avoided almost 30 years in taxes without consequences. For context, and this is where the $1.17 comes in. Minimum wage in Chile right now is 301,000 pesos. $422. That's what they make a month, basically.
Oh.
In a month, a person spends over 51,000 pesos, $73, just in the transportation, 2 trips daily. This is a sixth of their income just in transportation to get back and forth. So it has a lot of people pissed off because of that. And they said, and the pensions aren't much better, giving them 134,000 pesos, $189 monthly. And there are people who get much less than that. So students decided to protest and take control of Santiago's metro stations, inviting the rest of the citizens to evade the fare to show the general discontent of the population. The government replied by sending the police to fight against the protesters, hitting them, throwing tear gas bombs, and even shooting them. Chilean press only shows the riots, avoiding the real facts. Like they're kind of doing what America does and like puts this like the most negative picture on these riots that they possibly can.
Right.
The protests got to the streets, riots, and I don't know what this word is, cacerolazos. It's like a $5 word.
It's Spanish.
Yeah. And even multiple fires affect Santiago. So they're like burning shit up really fucking quickly over there right now.
But all because of this transportation fee increase? That's what started it?
Yeah, this has like been like the main thing.
Oh yeah, the fact that nobody can afford to live. You got private utilities, private water. Like that's like what we're going through with healthcare here.
That's like a
worse.
humanitarian crisis.
I mean, it's like a fucking.
The government's kind of in control of it too.
Well,
though.
it's private, so
water's
in Chile,
a human right.
No, we pay for water. It should be. It should be, but
we don't pay for water. We pay for distribution.
We pay for water.
So
it's bullshit.
I know.
So while all of this is going on, the president is seen in a restaurant located in the wealthiest area having dinner with his family, like just not giving a fuck, basically. At about midnight, I don't exactly know when this date was. I think it was a few days ago. At about midnight, the president announced that Santiago is under state of emergency. The military goes out to the streets, and the violence is harder than ever. This is the biggest event of repression Chile has faced since the dictatorship that their country was in between 1973 and 1990. This is still going on. Cities along the entire country are getting organized to protest because this isn't just about the raise of a metro fare. This is the explosion of a social unrest that's been growing for decades. And instead of dialoguing and trying to listen to the people, the government is endorsing abuse, forced disappearances, and even the murder of hundreds of people. But this won't stay like this. We are fighting back, and we will be heard. So this is written from like the
rising up
from like a Chilean protester.
I just want to say that not too many days ago, I just saw no better time than now to go to Chile because the exchange rate is so good. It was like some bullshit like white girl travel article.
If you want to die in a fire,
top 10 places to travel.
I mean, you could go. You could take
cocktails.
Take Dave's ski mask and go join the riots for vacation.
Revolution.
So a couple things here, right? So minimum wage here in Pennsylvania is currently $7.25 per hour.
I thought it was $7.50.
I just looked it up at $7.25.
How much is that a month?
That is, so I did some math, right? I was thinking about to explain to people why the whole transportation thing would be the straw that broke the camel's back, aside from the fact it could be anything. They're already fucking completely strapped. People can't live.
Yeah.
All right. At minimum wage, if you work full-time, 40 hours a week here in Pennsylvania, making your $7.25 an hour, you make, before taxes, $290 a week. Wow. Okay, so let that sink in. First of all, that's in this country.
That's
nobody's rioting here, but that's if so. And they said 1/6 of their income is going to just getting to and from work.
Right.
From your $290 a week here in Pennsylvania, that would be $72.50 just to ride the bus to work. So,
question: I wonder if they pay taxes out of their wages too.
Yeah, of course.
So does yours include taxes?
No, this is all pre-tax. This is just. Yeah, pre-tax. So you make $290 pre-tax at minimum wage. Let me ask you a question. Anybody out there, 290 times 4 is what? 1160. Okay, so if you make minimum wage here in Pennsylvania, it's $7.25. Some places it's $15 an hour, like I think in Colorado or whatever.
Yeah.
Some states. And people rage about that. Companies won't be able to afford it, whatever.
It's also a higher cost of living out there too than what it is here.
Oh, it's plenty high here. It's too high to live off of. But my point is, $7.25 an hour. Okay, working one job full time, you make $1,160 a month pre-tax. After taxes,
you make probably 800.
800 something a month to live on.
Yeah.
I spent $200 on Amazon this morning.
If you got those Instagram dollars.
But how easy is it I can't go anywhere without spending $100.
You don't do that. So think about really like I'm thinking if you're seriously, like 1160 pre-tax, your rent, when's the last time you saw anybody's rent who was less than it? Like if you go to the cheapest neighborhood that I can think of right now.
I think of Washington,
you could get like
$550 cheapest probably.
Out in West Alex, I saw an apartment for like $400 a month.
One bedroom.
This is like a one bedroom shithole out in the middle of nowhere. That's nowhere near anywhere you can work, by the way. So I'm talking about a rural area here in southwestern Pennsylvania. It's way out there.
Yeah.
I mean, literally $400 a month. Okay. And you can't even talk about a mortgage or buying a house because if you're making this, you aren't saving shit. You can't. You don't have a down payment, so you're renting. Like what? Like you make $800 a month or something after taxes, and like think about that. The cheapest rent you're gonna find, and this is if you're a single person, right? You're working 40 hours a week, and your rent's like at least $500, $550, and that's if you get lucky and find.
And that's in Pennsylvania. I mean, it's cheap here. It is.
There are other states.
I had a studio apartment that I paid $530 a month at.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's pretty good price.
But I mean, like that was a fucking studio apartment. Like it was all one room.
That's when your kitchen's in,
how much in a month do you pay for food?
You're sleeping in your
like
kitchen
5 feet away.
Let's just say after taxes, you're making you're looking at like $800-900. I don't know. Maybe you don't pay very much taxes because you're making that. Let's say you have $1,000 to work with.
Let's do it.
A week or a month?
A month.
Okay,
because that's
so your rent's. Let's do best case. Your rent's what was it?
Just say your rent's $400.
$400.
$600. That leaves you with.
You have to pay utilities.
$600.
Yeah, you're gonna have to pay utilities.
$100.
Yeah, that $400 didn't include utilities.
Okay, so 150.
Say 150. Say you don't have internet. You have to have internet.
You have to have internet.
You can't live life without internet.
That's an $80 bill right there at least.
$80 plus.
Mine's like $100 and I don't have anything.
Dude, I'm saying $200 out the door. That's $600.
Just utilities, yeah. Water.
I'm already pissed.
Because we already established that you have to pay water.
I haven't eaten yet.
So let's call it $400 for rent, $150 for utilities. You got electricity, you got power, you got probably a sewage. If you're living in the city,
including Wi-Fi, yeah, you got dial-up. All right, whatever.
Yeah, dial-up.
Yeah, so that's $550. You have $450.
It would be more than $150 because your internet's $100.
I know.
$200. Let's just say $200 for utilities.
It also depends too. Like some apartment places cover certain utilities. Like when I lived in the studio apartment,
not for $400 though, you know.
No, like when I was paying $530 or something. I forget what I didn't have to pay gas. Like it didn't
like
have
a halfway
any gas
house or something.
No, well, almost, but no.
Yeah, dude, I paid more. It's expensive living in a halfway house, bro. I was in a house.
They can't even meet you halfway.
I had a buddy that lived in a halfway house out in Scottsdale, and the rent was $1,600 a month.
Scottsdale.
What? He was just like, "Yeah, it fucking sucks, man." I'm like, "How are you supposed to focus on staying clean if you're just stressed about fucking money?"
You got to sell drugs to pay your rent.
This thing is like you have to probably sell drugs.
I get high too. What the fuck? No wonder we're all strung out.
Anyway,
on
all right.
drugs.
Let's get back to living life on minimum wage. All right.
Okay, so $600 a month.
$600 a month just to live.
Just to
just
exist
to live,
with a
and you're
roof.
not even eating yet.
That's no food.
You now have $400 left.
$400.
You still don't have transportation to work yet. So you're either paying a bus fare
or walking.
Let's say you can walk to work.
If you walk to work, in West Alex, anywhere you're paying $400 a month for your rent, you can't walk to work. But let's say
perfect world. You found
a perfect
the
world,
great spot.
That's the spot that I was in. You could have though.
Okay, well, fair enough.
Okay, you could walk to
we'll
work.
allow it. You
have
can
no
walk
car.
to work.
Okay, no transportation.
No transportation.
Best case. Food.
What if you work in a fast food spot?
Then you're fat. I don't
take food. That's free food.
But we're talking about ways of not stealing food, right?
saying,
how are you supposed to live without breaking the law or stealing things?
Yeah, sometimes you get a free meal from work.
Sometimes, but that doesn't cover your... And we're still thinking you're a single dude here, right? So
right.
You got $400 left in a month. That's $100 per week, right? To eat. Okay, so $100 a week, you could do it. With groceries, I could do it.
Okay, but like shoes, shirts,
Yeah.
clothes,
Yeah.
basic fucking
Needs.
Goodwill.
things.
And
Yeah.
aside from this, okay, assuming you can spend the rest of your money on groceries and having clothes, you could like live. What the fuck kind of life is that? Like, who wants to live that life? Like, I love how these like people get on and like talk about minimum wage. Like, yeah, if you just work hard. And this is a person who's working 40 hours a week. Most minimum wage jobs don't give you 40 hours a week because they don't want you to be full time. Because then, healthcare. What about healthcare? We didn't even talk about that. You have no health insurance.
Oh yeah, because
By the
it's
way.
private. Okay, so
Yeah, it's private. So you have no health insurance. So if you get sick, you have nothing. If anything happens to you, you have absolutely no money. And you are working 40 hours a week at a minimum wage job, which is going to be awful. What the fuck kind of country are we living in, right? I'm already pissed off. And these people so I'm saying in Chile, no wonder they're throwing Molotov cocktails. It's even worse.
Yeah.
is it worse? So what's the scale?
Yeah,
so they,
wow,
so
I don't
they're-
know.
Is it worse though? I mean,
Probably,
are they
I would
rioting?
say
It's probably
just-
a little bit worse.
I don't know,
But
I can't-
that fucking sucks.
That's
no. That's
terrible.
no health care.
That's no kind of
Yeah.
life. Like,
you get a sinus infection.
Let me
You
ask-
ain't getting pills.
let me
for
ask you
it.
this.
You're
Nah.
just
Do you-
fucking deal with it.
just as
Gotta
a
get
basic
Dayquil if you can afford it.
principle, do you want to live in a place like, do you want if you can pick where you live and you can like have a choice about your country because you live in a democracy, people don't understand the value of that. Like, and I don't want to turn into a big like political rant or whatever, but
It's already halfway there.
we're there. I mean, this is fucked up, right? Like, if you're living like this, $1,160 a month pre-tax, and we gave you all the best case scenarios. You can
That's
walk
true.
to work.
That was
you
all best case.
You got lucky as you could get on an apartment. You can't do it. You're not gonna like. People do it, but like, what do? You have to work 2 jobs at least.
Have to.
Is robbing people on the table?
No.
It's.
I mean, law-abiding citizen. You can't expect.
I'm saying
this is-
like to follow the law.
yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're not gonna you can't do.
You have to work another job.
Yeah.
Have to.
Or do illegal.
Just so you
shit.
don't-
It's like,
Logically,
what do you do?
Just
using
so
our
you just
brains,
stop
forget
thinking
about
about
all the
food.
bullshit debates that go on out there with like, basically Republicans are always saying like, well, a minimum wage job should be out there, blah blah blah, as if like, I don't know, minimum wage needs to be higher. First of all, I think that this should be illegal. Should this not be illegal? In the like, do you want that to be okay and fine? Because there's no way that companies and corporations are not going to abuse that and do that if they can. They of course will, because they do whatever they can do.
Right.
Which is their job. They're supposed to just make money. They're not
Corporation,
supposed to
it's a
just
money,
be
it's a
unchained
being.
and just
Yeah.
do whatever they want to people. Like, anyway, so do you want to live in a place where like that's okay? Because
We already do. So
we
I mean,
do, but it shouldn't be. You know
no,
what I
I
mean?
mean, yeah, I get
but
it. Yeah.
The answer
we
is
do.
no. The minimum wage should not be $7.25. It was fucking $7.15 when I was in high school
Yeah,
and I graduated
yeah.
in 2006.
Right.
Nah, yeah.
Are you
it's-
kidding me? I was making that working at Subway when I was like in high school,
You were a
But
sandwich
here's
artist?
the
and I had no money still.
the fucked up
I didn't
part
have
is
any
like
bills.
the argument. Like I'm thinking, okay, I'm a rich, whatever. Like the argument, like oh, fucking the wage is fine, right? They should work harder. Go to college and get a degree, right? Go to college and work hard.
We've covered that.
Get a degree.
Yeah, that's the biggest. I have a college degree.
$1.4 trillion of debt this year.
Yeah.
They celebrated it by going to Hawaii. It's a company-wide trip.
Who?
Fannie Mae
Yeah, I was just reading about that.
company
the other
trip
day.
to Hawaii to celebrate.
You're talking
the
about
debt.
student loan debt. That's what
Student
that's
loan
what,
debt, 1.4 trillion this year.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
So
the
we-
biggest
we-
scam.
I
in the
was
Who
world.
has student loans here? Do you have student loans?
I do.
Yeah, I do.
I don't even have a fucking degree
have
and
them
I have
too.
student loans.
You
Yeah,
have no degree and you still have student loans.
$130 a month.
I'm $335 a month. I think.
Do you have a degree?
Yeah.
Do you have a degree?
I have a degree. Yeah.
How much are your loans a month?
I don't even know. I can't remember, but like,
Okay, but like I'm saying, like, okay, let's get you out of this hole, right? Then you have just student loans, like, and you get like a somewhat pay increase, you know, because like, I don't know.
what do you? Because like,
it's somewhat. I mean, but I was thinking like, okay, let me scale this. So 1/6 transportation. Let's say you have $30,000 a year salary, which is still relatively low. The median is 42 in a
Is
male.
this after taxes or before taxes?
That's before.
Okay.
The median salary in a male between 24 and 36 years old is like $42,000
in the United
That makes
States.
sense.
roughly.
yeah.
I saw that yesterday. It was like 42 and some change in the U.S. So let's say you get a degree, you got a shit gig,
Like
30,
that's the middle of the road. The median means that's the middle.
right? So average probably because then you got like
Average is different.
$1 million salaries that
That are
bring
pulling
that
it
up.
up. Yeah, they're
And
pulling the
80,000,
average up.
yeah.
But the median's not.
Let's say you got
affected by that.
$30,000 a year salary, which equates to roughly what's that a month? Like 2,500 ish, right?
30,000 a year.
30,000 a year.
30,000 a year.
Let's
means,
do 36,000. So that would be $3,000 a month.
Yeah.
Okay, so $3,000
Still
a
not
month
that
to
much.
scale 1/6 of your transportation would be $500 a month.
Yeah, that's right.
So that would be a reasonable vehicle that's reliable, dependable, plus insurance, which is 500.
And
so
it becomes more than that. That's just the payment.
gas, maintenance, tires,
Maintenance,
oils,
tires, yeah.
oils,
Right.
all the oils you need to.
Right.
You need at least 2 in there.
Yeah. But okay,
1/6.
so 1/6 of 36,000. Well, 33. It'd be $600 a month for. It would be $600 a month for transportation, which is what I pay. My truck is 300. It's a 2010, 100,000 miles on it. $325 a month.
Right.
And I got a speeding ticket because I got into an accident. I was in Flagstaff, hit ice, slid into the back of a semi truck on the highway.
Yeah.
Smashed. He didn't even know I fucking hit him. My truck is demolished. Right. I do what I'm told to do, what my dad taught me to do. Call the police, report the accident. It'll help you with insurance. Nice.
It's not going to help you with insurance.
Yeah, I don't know. So I called the cops. He had to write me a ticket for him. He had to write me a ticket for failure to control my vehicle. So it's like $400 fine.
On the ice.
It's a $400 fine. Failure to control speed to avoid an accident. That's what it was. Failure to control speed to avoid an accident.
Did he see the
2
ice?
points, $400 fine. And he's like, I can't. It's nothing I can do about it, man. I know it's fucking stupid.
Did you like fight it or did you actually like pay
He's
that?
in Flagstaff. What am I gonna fucking stay there for a month and fly back?
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
what
yeah,
That's
yeah.
why they fuck you. You know, why can't I do this on an iPad? Like, let me, you know,
Let me swipe this
But anyways,
cord in, right?
anyways, okay. Let's say I have the shithole car on minimum wage that has 600,000 miles on it. It's paid off cash because I bought it for $50 from my uncle, right? My insurance is $100 a month. I'm on minimum wage. I just got a $400 ticket for hitting ice
Yeah.
and 2 points on my license.
Right.
$400 ticket. That's your food money for the month.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
not-
just basic
yeah.
budgeting. You can't just have enough to cover what you have because you're not making it because things happen.
Right.
Your car breaks down. You're fucking.
But
you
now
need
I'm saying-
clothes. God forbid.
Yeah.
You need to put some
Comparing-
pants on.
Comparing Chile though to here, or Chile as Dave says, to here, okay, $36,000 a year salary, reasonable, pretty much the median. Your car payment's $500 with insurance.
Depends on the cost of living though. $36,000 isn't really that livable if you're in like New York City or
It's not
you
livable.
can't survive.
no,
not
As
even
far as I'm
close.
concerned, it's not that livable
Fuck
here.
no.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what I'm arguing.
you could
is here
survive.
in rural fucking Pennsylvania.
You could survive.
You could get
but
by, but
there
then you get
wouldn't
the
be-
$400
but
ticket.
You're not doing great.
But the scale is they're pissed because their transportation is 1/6. But
1/6
really,
of your
here,
pay
a
is-
reasonable vehicle is 1/6 of your pay.
True. Yeah, I take your point. But the difference for them, the reason why they're desperate and throwing Molotov cocktails is because the pie that they're taking that 1/6 from is so fucking small that they don't even have enough left to like.
And they have a
To even
very,
live
very
with.
corrupt government
that's
too.
try-
That
that's
goes,
public
that
which
goes
ours
a lot
is,
with
ours
it
is
too.
getting there. It's working on it.
Yeah, yeah,
But that's public transportation too. That's getting on a bus,
Yeah.
yeah.
not having your own vehicle
Yeah, right. Public transportation should not cost you 1/6 of your
or 1 cent.
or anything. It shouldn't cost you fucking
because
anything.
we pay taxes.
Right.
For
Right.
that shit. Like,
Right.
Yeah,
Right. That's true.
1.4 trillion student loans,
Right.
private healthcare. Anyways, holy fuck, does shit suck right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Can we say
Yeah,
that?
I'm like,
Santiago,
I'm kind
Chile,
of depressed now.
They're throwing Molotov cocktails.
Yeah.
And we're just like right there
Yeah.
with them.
Well, yeah,
If you
we're like
look
right-
at
A
it,
lot
We're
of
like 2
people in this
steps behind,
country are living that
basically.
way. No doubt. No one gives a fuck about them and they don't have a voice. So, but
It's
yeah.
fucked up.
So,
What have we learned today? Don't
the world
be
is
broke.
The world is darkness, Dave. The same place we started out when we started making this podcast, man. We're
Yeah.
not here to solve it. We're just here to talk about it.
Yeah.
I got nothing for you.
Thanks for
I don't
having
know.
me. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It's a real mood upriser, isn't it?
Don't vote for the guys who try and tell you that low minimum wage is a good thing. I don't know. Maybe start there.
Yeah, but see, the thing with that is like half the people make more than minimum wage, so they don't have any sympathy towards it anymore. So it's like,
You mean the average person out there who's like hearing this?
yeah,
Yeah. But that's why I did, like, seriously, $7.25 an hour, 40 hours a week, and you're making whatever it was, $1,100 a month. You can't do. The reality is, the answer to that situation is that you have to work 2 fucking jobs.
yeah.
Just to live in a shit ass apartment by yourself. And if you have a kid, God bless you. Because
it away.
now
I think
you're
there are
working,
subsidies available though, aren't there? Welfare
dude,
shit like that.
I mean, if
Yeah.
you're working full time,
Yeah, that's true. Actually,
so
Fuck.
you're fucked basically.
Says, you ever have sleep for dinner? You ever been so hungry you just go to sleep? Yeah, that's
Right.
yeah.
it's twisted, man.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, it's not a good thing.
I mean, nobody who's working 40 hours a week should have to live like that.
No.
No.
Like showing up
You're
for work.
leaving your
Can
house-
you
yep,
imagine
yeah.
like anybody who's worked like a shitty fast food job? Like think about like, I don't know, there's always like a lady who like is just like the fucking rock of that place that's always there.
Terry.
Like anybody who's working that hard.
DQ.
Yeah, it was this Dairy Queen right by our house growing
Yeah.
up. There was this woman named Terry. She had
Yeah.
this 80s porn star haircut, and she was the woman there. She was
Yeah.
She held it down.
she held down the fort. She worked there for 16, 20 years.
Right.
She just I think she probably made just above minimum wage.
Probably.
She was probably like $10 an hour, you know, through her hard
Probably.
work
Oh, yeah.
and fucking
We're gonna throw you a bone. Here's $10 an hour. You know.
It's twisted, man. Like again, nobody who's working like that should have to live at this level of like what kind of country do we want to live in here? Is this like fucking
It's not Chile.
a
That's
free for all, like just Mad Max, like Thunderdome, you know, whoever's like starts. And then it's like,
It'll be more fun. I
just
think.
gets back to that whole, you know, like the whole mythos of like rich people are rich because they work the hardest or whatever. Like, yeah, some for sure. But like, dude, don't
Some are
tell
born
me
into it.
like, people act like with and I hate talking about fucking Trump, but he's just the most obvious like rich guy out there with that kind of a legend. Like, oh, he just works so hard and he was just so good at business. The dude inherited like hundreds of millions of dollars from his dad.
Well, that's the same
And,
thing
like,
with Dan
squandered a
Bilzerian
lot of
too.
it. What about him?
A lot of people, like he's like this rich ass fucking douchebag basically that like always posts his life on social media, but like no one realizes that his dad was like this fucking like I think he was like in the stock market and ripped off a shit ton of people. Actually ended up going to jail because of it for a while and had a shit ton of money in Dan's name
Right.
that Dan was able to access because of all the people he fucked over.
Well,
but
I
he
didn't know
acts
that.
like he's made all his money off winning poker and shit like that, and now he's trying to go into a midzy fucking cannabis brand.
yeah, but it's funny. Like I won all my money playing poker. Okay, but you had 17 million
Exactly,
to bet.
exactly.
Right,
You had
yeah.
the $1 million
Right.
to buy into that
I'll
poker
put
game.
30,000.
You could
down.
bet $1 million 17 different times.
right.
In that, and these 17 chances. You suck at poker if you
Yeah.
can't make something happen.
Yeah.
No, I don't know, but like, yeah, it's just, come on, man. Like, let's be real here. Like,
It's not, but let's not get away from it. It's not about the rich. It's not about people don't work for their fucking money. It's about our bottom line
Yeah.
is unacceptable.
yeah,
You
it
know?
is.
Like,
but the
it's
rich
not- that has nothing to do
figure
with the
into
rich.
it because they're the ones that call the fucking shots, because our system right now is vulnerable to people throwing money at it. So the
Right.
people who have money get to have the conversation and they get to throw this bullshit out there like, oh, minimum wage kills jobs. No one can afford to hire anyone. Get the fuck out of here. Like, make it work, dude. Like, if you ask me, they can't afford to do what they're doing now. If your employees are living in fucking $400 a month apartments, and
You don't
can't
have a
feed
profitable
themselves.
business if you can't afford to have employees that can eat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
That's
do-
not a business.
That's
Right.
not a business. That's
Slavery.
a fucking. That's a sweatshop.
Literally.
So go to fucking.
Literally.
Right. That's a good point.
And these
That's-
companies have enough to like to do it. Like, you know,
a lot,
it's not
dude.
like
Yeah,
A lot of them do.
it's
Of
not like
course.
McDonald's doesn't have the
Or
money.
like the big ones with all the leverage. Amazon, Walmart. Like,
yeah, Walmart. I think like they're at least into like I think the $10 to $14 an hour.
right, but they
wage,
don't. They
but
do
they're-
shit. They do stuff where they don't hire anyone full time and they
Right.
keep you part time. So you still are. And then we get into the healthcare, which is quasi private, and you're spending fucking half your pay just so you don't die and go to the so you can go to the doctor or whatever.
Yeah.
And if you have kids and shit, like it's easy for us to be like, yeah, just don't have health insurance. But like if you got like 3 kids and they get like they go to school and they come home with like fucking bird flu or whatever, like you gotta take them to the doctor. Like they're laying there just coughing up green shit. Like you can't just
$3,400.
for
a bill for that probably
Yeah,
to get
right.
3 kids
Easily.
fucking taken care of.
It's in the-
depending on
Heaven
what
forbid
happens.
you get hit by a car or something, got to stay overnight at the hospital. It costs like, how much is an ambulance ride? It's
like
like
$5,000 off the
it's
bat.
ridic-
Yeah.
Like,
How does that even make
It's
sense?
cheaper to like get an Uber to take you to the hospital if you're having a heart attack, in all honesty, than it
It's
is.
cheaper to. I think we've established that it's just cheaper to just die of the heart attack.
Yeah.
Like, just forget it.
Just throw me in the
it, man.
trash.
I can't afford this. Like, just let me go, man.
Let it happen.
thanks a lot, mom and dad.
Yeah.
I didn't ask for any of this shit.
But like,
I
dude, we
love
can
the-
fix it, man. And that's like, I'll say this: like, we live in a democracy, and like, people act like. I saw this meme that said like, and it pissed me off because it's like, unchecked. People shouldn't be. Unchecked people will do bad things or whatever, and it's like, but the government exists of unchecked people.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have a king. Yeah, if you have a dictator. If you live in a that's why you have to, like, it's important to live in a democracy. People who we elect, they don't rule us. Like, they
They
work
act like they
for
do.
us. And if a democracy is working the way it should be, and that's why it's important to have a democracy. Like, there's nobody, and it's like, that's why we don't want to have a king, so we can live with dignity. Like, I was watching Lord of the Rings, and like, everybody loves Aragorn, he's a cool dude, he ends up being the king at the end. But then I look, and at the end, and everybody, what do?
Bow to him.
They bow down. Like, and I'm thinking, like, that's fucked up. Like, you have to bow, and that's why, like, we're doing this, like, in America, like, so you don't have to fucking get down on your knees and bow down to some dude who's just like, yes, like, I own everything. And like, that's why you have a democracy. If you don't want that, then like, the shit's important. Like, people are like, oh, I don't care, it doesn't matter, don't vote. Like, okay, but
to address the issue with like, okay, we have a democracy, and if
it's in danger.
if it's working properly is the asterisk statement, right? But okay, so you have like what the issue is now is if a person who's running for office goes against the agenda of the money, right? They will throw money at someone else in their local district and have them reelected, right?
Right,
And what is
primary.
money by? Media coverage, right? So the issue is
the rules that allow that.
everything, all of it, because
No,
the
not
media
everything.
coverage.
There's
like-
it ain't media. It's the fact that
the general public just watches the news. Like, think about fucking John Smith down in Mississippi watching his news, just got home from work. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Normal guy. He just believes what's fed to him, right?
sure.
Like that is an issue. That's not a democracy.
Oh, it
Like,
for sure is.
But it's not like
there need to
equal.
be. The answer is simple. The money in elections is not just about what the news is saying. Canada has elections that are by law only allowed to last 3 months. You can't even start campaigning until 3 months before the election, as far as I know. And it's publicly elections should be publicly funded. Like, there should be a set aside amount of government tax money that you can use to do whatever you want. If you want to run for government, you got to satisfy or run for president or run for whatever. Say president. If you want to run for president, you got to apply and you got to satisfy whatever amount, whatever. They should make some standards for that. Like, give us your tax returns and don't be a fucking criminal. That should be pretty good, standards. But like, you get, if you satisfy all of that according to the rules, then you're allowed to have, you can run. So you run a campaign, you get this amount of money to run. You can do whatever you want. You can buy ads, you can throw events, you can do things like that. Because that's what a political campaign is. It's advertising and then going around and doing speaking engagements. That's it. And, you have this set amount of money and you only have 3 months to do it, and that's it. But see, what happens is, not only when they're already elected or when they're running for election, but the Citizens United court ruling, which is a Supreme Court ruling that basically just opened up the door even more wide for giant billion-dollar interests to flood money into these elections and through lobbying and there's ways for them to be paying politicians who are already elected, and these guys don't even have to really disclose very transparently where the money's coming from, which allows giant oil companies and the pharmaceutical industry for example, to have laws written. And a lot of this crap is a result of that. So reverse Citizens United, okay? And you make adopt an election rules where it's more like that, you're going to solve a lot of that shit. Like these guys who just get it, like you would never have.
But who's going to do that?
Well,
who
you got to elect
that?
people that can do that. You can vote for people who believe in that or who will do that.
But John Smith in Mississippi won't do that. Like, and he's general.
What do you mean?
Because of what he's being fed.
Well, yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem.
So
literally we have to like start back from square one.
yeah, but
No, we don't need to start from square one. We just need to make adjustments, man. Like that's
It's a lot of adjustments to make though.
But who's going to do that?
Okay, but you
for
have
us?
to.
You know what I mean?
Start with citizens. Who's going to do that? There are plenty of people who are in office that would do that if they could.
How do we allow them to do that?
Well, you have to vote for enough. You have to get people. Here's how: young people and people who don't vote go vote because you are the biggest election electorate group is people who don't vote. That is the largest group of people. You got Republicans, you got Democrats, and then people who don't vote are an ocean of people because they think it doesn't matter. It would if you all would show up and go vote.
If all y'all would go show up and vote.
You all. I did not mean to do that.
If y'all go vote.
Y'all better go vote out there now.
I was just trying to say you all. But anyway, the whole fuck it, nothing matters is how you end up with Donald Trump. That's how you end up with Chile. That's how you end up with complete corruption, a dictator, and then you're bowing on your knees to someone.
It doesn't end up with it being Donald Trump. It ends up being Donald Trump because he manipulates people. That's like half the battle with this shit. He's a good manipulator and he's able to manipulate.
He's not that
thinking.
Good. It's just that here's another problem.
He's pretty good because he had
set up some rules so that for-profit entertainment companies cannot pretend to be news. How about that? Fox News should not be able to exist. They get on there and they present themselves as if a lot of these now during the day, actually Fox News is pretty much straight news. A lot of their shows, not the one in the morning, Fox and Friends in the morning is garbage, but like there are guys like the news covers pretty much just boring news during the day. It's the evening shows at night that are entertainment shows, but they present themselves as news and they just lie. They just lie. And you introduce some rules so you can't do that. Shouldn't be able to do that. This is just a for-profit company run by Rupert Murdoch, who's Australian, who owns it. Like, dude.
Good day, mate.
But, okay, but.
Not I mean, like, just being Australian is, like, bad. But
what
saying
about.
He's not even from here. Like,
What about, like, freedom of press?
doesn't even go here.
Freedom of speech.
Not that they can't.
Wouldn't that impede on that? You
No,
have to tell
man.
the truth?
You can't present. There should be rules about that. Like, it's been unspoken as up. Back in the 70s, it was like news was like basically a public service. But like now you got people exploiting. Like, yeah, you got to make some rules. Like, yeah, you could say whatever you want, but you have to just like, yeah, you can put whatever you want. You could sell a bottle full of poison if you want to, but you can't write orange juice on it. You have to say this is poison. Same thing, man. Like they can say that shit, but they should have to label themselves clearly as like, this is not news. This is my opinion, And I think that would go a long way. But I'm just saying, look, I don't have all the answers, but the whole fuck it, we can't do anything about it, so I don't care. That's what allows this shit to happen. Because you bet your ass if like even 1/10 of all the people who don't give a shit and don't vote would go out and vote, things would change. There'd be positive change. That's all. A lot of people are disengaged because of that, And then the people who benefit from this crap, they know this and they manipulate it. And that's why you see so much like the whole Donald Trump, his whole playbook is just muddy the water. Like just create the smoke screen, They have like the cloud of bullshit.
Cut off a hand and put it in the valley, just like that fucking serial killer. Just spreading body
Move
parts around.
shit around.
Yeah.
Or like season 5 when Walt was putting in fake calls to like the news and stuff, like spreading everybody's thin.
Yeah, in the last episode. To get the cops to go everywhere.
Anyways.
It does work. But anyway, all right, I'm done.
How did we get here?
I didn't want to do that.
Santiago, Chile.
Yeah.
Chile.
We ended up finding out that Chile is right here at home in your heart.
Basically. Basically.
Fuck.
That's the moral of the story. God. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm depressed now.
Every time I come here, I feel worse.
Yeah. That's what the dark side does to you, but
Sometimes it's funny.
sometimes.
I like to think so. Today wasn't funny.
No. No, we got
I
deep.
seriously have this
I mean,
looming fucking
maybe
like,
the serial killer
cloud over
thing
me.
was a little funny compared to what we were just talking about.
Yeah, I think that was kind of
How
more
is that-
lighthearted than what this conversation was.
Yeah, the serial killer thing was fun, but when we started talking about our country, it really
In
went
reality.
down from
Went
there.
downhill.
When we started talking about the reality of people's lives in our
No
country.
wonder people want to fuck Ted Bundy. They're just looking for something to do. Like,
God.
Keeping their minds
anything
off
to
of it.
distract me from this job. I just go to work at fucking McDonald's, and I have to work at McDonald's during the day, and I work at the other McDonald's the other half of the day.
It's no, they work at Wendy's at night.
God, just let us have weed. What the fuck? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
If anybody needs to smoke weed, it's everyone.
Yeah,
I know. It's true.
that's very true, actually.
Jesus. Okay, and that about does it for the most depressing episode of the Dark Side podcast
Yeah.
to date, I think.
I'm going to go
probably.
slit my wrist after this, I think.
Don't do that. Don't hurt yourself, Dave.
Feel terrible.
Like, really bad. And I'm not even in the percentage that we're talking about, so, like,
Yeah.
I just feel bad for my fellow man.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to go hop in my Mercedes and think about that for a while.
Oh my God.
You do have a Mercedes.
Jesus, Dave.
Fucking asshole. You're like, man, this stuff sucks. And beep, beep, fuck you.
Stop riding a bike to work, you bitch.
what's
You
up?
broke
What's
bitch.
up, Poverty Pete? You fucking loser. Yeah, but healthcare is a crisis.
Yeah,
We need to-
it
Sure is.
I get mine from work, so.
All right, guys. Let's just tell them about the 3 R's of success and get out of here before something bad
rate,
happens.
Review, subscribe,
Success.
pillage.
Yeah, you're going to have to
Success.
pillage if you're making minimum
Molotov
wage.
cocktail.
Jesus. But anyway, yeah, follow us on all. You can find us on YouTube. You can follow us on all the social things.
I think they know
at
they can
Dark
find us
Side
on YouTube
Podcast.
if they're watching this right now.
Some
all the
people are just
socials.
listening to it.
That's true, too.
You can watch the podcast
In fact,
now.
statistically, most people are just listening to it.
Okay.
So,
I like statistics.
For all you listeners out there, there's a YouTube channel you can watch the podcast on.
yeah,
and,
I don't recommend it.
And Pornhub.
He's really ugly.
Dave had on a ski mask for the first half of this episode, by the way.
It was like 10 minutes. It
I'd like
wasn't
to
even
get a
10
close
minutes
up
in.
of that like round mustache hole thing. Be like a cursed image.
Yeah,
the
thanks for
butthole
having me
of my
again,
face.
guys.
Yeah,
appreciate you.
Tom, thanks for
Appreciation
coming,
valve wide open, bro.
I hate that phrase. I don't know where you got that. But,
I like it.
Thanks.
well,
I didn't
Dave's
really
just
ask
a
how
fan
you felt
of,
about
of
the phrase.
Yeah, I know, but it's my show, so
Yeah, well,
you
it's
can-
my phrase,
you can
so
sit
you
down.
can sit down.
I'll edit you out.
I'll edit you in.
Of the
I'll keep
whole
it.
episode.
I'll make sure it's kept in.
Yeah, put a pin on that for me, Dave.
Put a pin on it, like a
Edit
like a
that out
flare
for me.
button.
Did you edit that?
like from Office Space, like a Boy Scout.
Look, flare. I noticed you only have 6 pieces of flare.
Yeah. Okay. My name's Matt Elias.
Daviana.
Tone Jordan.
Late.
Bye.